Hey everyone, it's Fiona. Thank you so much again for watching. I have done another video just a while ago, and I felt like doing another one. I have been going through a lot of old notes, old notebooks that I filled with notes from when I just got into astrology. All of this stuff, like I wanted to collect info and just at some point share this for other people, and I found a topic that really compelled me and really interested me, and this is about indications in the natal chart about feeling unpopular and like nobody likes you, or not many people like you, or just feeling unloved and not having a lot of friends in the natal chart. I want to mention these, and I hope maybe it can help you a little bit. Go. So this is from a very old thread at the forum of LindaLand, LindaGoodman.com, and these are things that I collected that I just wrote down from what I read, all the suggestions. So credit goes there, obviously. So the first one that was mentioned was Venus conjunct Chiron. I think the hard aspects in general between Venus and Chiron could work. Venus is of course about your social life, about being pleasant, about interacting socially with people, and just friendliness. And Chiron is of course about the wounded healer. About wounds and things that are chronic, ways in which you feel that you may just not be will never just be perfect, will never just be enough of what you want, so if you pair these together, this can definitely make someone just have very low self-esteem and just don't feel really good. And so if I just go by that, my intuition says that this will lead to people with this aspect thinking that they are unpopular and that they aren't liked by people, but they may actually be very liked, but they may just don't really see it, and not just in a Neptune kind of way, but just they may just kind of not really believe it or something, or just because they feel that like they need to be more. And they feel that there's some sort of lack of something there because of Chiron. Chiron, of course, would be uncurable wound, and so you kind of there's chronically something bringing them down, and so that would definitely be an option. I afflicted Venus in general, because of course hard aspects mean because challenges. Yes, but with some planets even a conjunction can definitely be a hard aspect. If Venus has quite a few afflictions, it can just mean like your self-esteem, your sense of self-worth. You just feel so many challenges that you might just feel like either you just don't feel loved, or you think that just you keep having problems in your social life and while socializing with people, and just in your relationships in general, and so it can make things very difficult for you. I don't know for sure if this will be things that happen to you, or in some cases it can also of course mean just a sense of feeling of that you are not liked. It could be both. And yes, like Venus for instance, also in the hard aspect to the ascendant, can mean just feeling not pretty, you're just not beautiful, and just like you need a person who is an absolute, like you look like a supermodel, you're so beautiful and so pretty, but just in their eyes they only see like the little imperfections about them. They can see just how beautiful they really are. And with Venus in hard aspect to the ascendant. So another very obvious one is Venus-Saturn aspects, especially hard ones. I would say hard ones, but I talked to a lot of people with Venus-Saturn positive aspects, and they do still say like that they don't really like it, but they do feel the challenges of low self-esteem and self-worth and just insecurity. So maybe positive, the soft aspects can give that feeling, but maybe they are easier to overcome than in case of a hard aspect between Venus and Saturn. Then, well, we're talking about Saturn anyway. Capricorn in the 11th house, or Saturn in the 11th house, or the ruler of the 11th house in Capricorn or conjunct Saturn would also give a kind of feeling, but because it is tied to the 11th house of friends, of groups, of your social circle, it will very likely be especially in that area of life. So with your friends, your peers, or people of whatever club or organization you join, and your hobby clubs that you're a part of, you may feel just like the outsider, like you just don't fit in, and mostly you feel like you are not liked, or that you're not good enough, or you may just feel like people are rejecting you. These are all ways that with Saturn or Capricorn tied to the 11th house can work. And the 11th house in general, affliction to the ruler in general can be a problem, and the planet that does the afflicting to the ruler of the 11th will usually give an indication why there is a challenge. And the house that this said planet is in also gives like another reason why it is such a challenge, because the matters of one house are challenging what is happening with your 11th house. Then also just planets in the 11th house themselves that are afflicted, because there will be afflictions coming to the 11th house, and all of your situations and problems with peers and group relationships and activism. There's also was also mentioned Saturn in square with Mars, but maybe all Saturn Mars aspects. My feeling is that it is to do with blocking and just hindering energy or expression. The feeling that you have to contain yourself a lot. With Mars, your vitality, or you may just you can't really disagree with anything. Mars is about fighting, or how you fight, so also how you stick up for yourself. You may just feel like you can't do that, and that makes you just feel very unloved, because you get hindered so much with Saturn's limits, Saturn's restrictions. And then another thing what was mentioned was a Libra North Node, which is about, of course, you have Aries on the South Node. This is where you came from, your natural behavior. This might mean that you're learning about cooperation, you're learning about being a team and be a team player, and make at some point feel like, okay, oh shit, am I bad at this? Am I not good at this at all? Am I not good at relationships at all? With your Aries South Node, you likely are very used to being alone and doing things alone, solitary activities, and just being very independent. So you may feel that it is such a struggle to become relationships and be liked by people. But I think actually this was not mentioned in the thread, But I actually think that the reverse can also be true with a Libra South Node, because the South Node, again, now here Libra is the natural behavior, natural want to be liked, want to get along with people, want to do things in a team and relate to people. And so you may, with your Libra South Node, take any kind of rejection and people not wanting to relate with you very hard. And so a Libra South Node can make that very difficult, and then in that way give you the feeling of not being loved and not being liked by people, being unpopular. Libra can be very big on wanting to be popular. The 11th house that I mentioned earlier too. So yeah, they can take this extra hard when they don't feel loved. Another Venus in the Ascendant, I already mentioned. But the Saturn and the Ascendant hard aspects. Saturn kind of make you feel a bit inhibited, shy, just insecure, and that kind of gets in the way of the way you present yourself, the way you come across to other people, and the way you want to appear to other people. And of course, like into your descendant in your relationships. With a hard aspect to the ascendant from Saturn, very likely this comes from any of the angles. So either, very likely, the 4th house, maybe it's to do with the way you grew up and things in childhood that make you very kind of insecure. In 7th house, of course, it might play out a lot in relationships and in when you relate to other people and your projected qualities. And in 10th house, it can be the conflict between where you are in public and in authority and like in your career versus in yourself or in your relationships. With Saturn there in a hard aspect. Then they mentioned a large amount of feminine signs, because these are, I found it very surprising. They said it was because feminine signs are a little more receptive, so they may not be as likely to seek people out and seek outside popularity and being liked by people, and so they may feel like they kind of are left behind by while everyone else is having all this fun and love and all of that. They're just not being passive enough to really, just being a bit passive. Okay, I think something outside. Apparently it's not. Scared me. Okay. So, and well, Venus, Saturn, I already mentioned, but Venus with Uranus or Neptune or Pluto can also kind of provide some difficulties. You might, for instance, be very, like you said, inhibited, or you might actually, like with Uranus, act very free, extremely free and open, and to kind of hide how inhibited you feel. And you may kind of still feel like Uranus and in Aquarius, you may feel like you're good at making connections, you're good at making acquaintances, but to make a contact go a little deeper and really feel like you really had a bond is a bit more difficult. Aquarius and Uranus themselves have this bit of distance, and so you may just actually feel it from other people, just like there's some distance and I can't cover it, I can't reach these people and really feel like their love and the way they appreciate me. Then Venus in hard aspect with Neptune can make you gullible or just not really aware of things, or you don't realize it. Just like by having attracted a lot of liars, cheaters, people who manipulate, or just hide things from you, have given you a really bad feeling of just not being liked. Like if I was good enough, I would not attract people who always lie to me. Or if I was good enough, they wouldn't have lied to me at all. Things like that, which is of course not true. It says absolutely nothing about you, because these people who lied to you, who cheated, they are at fault, not you. Because you didn't lie or cheat, I assume. With Neptune, again, what I mentioned about not being aware, to be like just not really hearing it, or just not really sensing that people are really liking it. A bit calling your own head, and so you don't really catch all the love that you get from people. Or it maybe seems a bit mysterious. With heavy Saturn, it can mean that you have, due to what you've been through, you may have gotten into this mindset of thinking that people are mean, that people will criticize you, that they will hold you back, they won't let you be yourself, that people are harsh and strict, and that there are all these rules that you always have to obey to in order to be liked, or that you have to be successful before you can be liked, before you can be popular, before people can send you out all of this love. And of course that kind of mindset can make it very difficult, of course, to make a really connection with people. And the same kind of goes for Pluto, with very heavy hard aspects. With my Pluto, of course, is about things underneath the surface and hidden motives and darkness, people's dark sides. And with Pluto, you can have, due to things you have been through, you have gotten this mindset of that people are out to get you, like people will want to hurt you, or like if you aren't tough and really hard and hardcore, people will hurt you, and people will take advantage of you, or they will want to control you and do all this power play with you, and so you become very guarded, a bit secretive. Like Pluto and the 8th house is very secretive. Scorpio, a sign that it rules, is definitely good at keeping things to themselves that they don't want other people to know about. And so if you feel really guarded, and you don't really give yourself to other people, and so that really hinders your ability to make connections. And so then you still feel like you're unloved, and you may be definitely loved, but it's just you keep a wall in front of you, you know? And yeah, like you may need to try to break down this wall. They mentioned also Venus strong, in that relationships may be a bit boring, or you attract a lot of bad relationships, which again, they affect your self-esteem. You know, Venus is about the 2nd house is about your self-esteem. So you must again feel like you're not good enough. Venus with Pluto are aspects like obsessive and just constantly attracted to people who are no good. It does not have to be just in romantic relationships. It could be about like attracting bad friends or colleagues that are just very toxic and take advantage of you, or things like that, or just like they are extremely gossipy. They will just constantly talk shit about other people when they aren't there, things like that. And just attracting this negativity, and which of course can make you feel inferior, you know, like you're not good enough, because you're always with these people who are kind of bad and negative, and or criminal activities even, like for instance, like you end up with this group of friends who are involved in criminology, you know, they like the shoplifting or vandalism. And another big thing they mentioned was Venus in the 12th house. And this is because the 12th house is about secrets and about things that are hidden. Not just hidden from others, but also from you. And things that are in the background, that are not obvious. And so this could be like this person who just never gets any public validation. Like if someone likes something about them, they will say that to like a friend or a partner or like offhand somewhere, like in the passing, but like they will hear like through other people like, hey, Chris thought your drawing was really nice, or like, oh, like your new boss was so positive about you, like they really think you're a really nice person and a really good hard worker, but said boss would never say something to you directly. Or Chris, in this example again, they won't tell you directly that they like your art. And so you may feel that just like you just never know that people love you. You just don't realize it, because people don't directly tell you. They don't let you know. They like it all happens in the background somewhere. And this can definitely make you feel unpopular and like not liked. Now that we're talking about Neptunian things anyway, the Sun with Neptune, or Neptune in square or hard aspect to the ascendant axis, or Neptune Mars hard aspects also end up like this. Uranus Mars even. It could give you like, especially with the ascendant axis, this impression that you're very different than you actually are, either in how you present yourself or in your relationships. And other afflictions to the ascendant, again about giving off the wrong impression, or just an impression that like people think something about you, but this is not all about you. Just the 12th house in general, like you're seen as kind of mysterious, hard to grasp, it's confusing, or just not clear in the way you are towards people. People don't really know your intentions. Again, like it is a bit like repeating of other things, like just like strong heavy Scorpio, Pluto 8th house emphasis, or just come across as very intimidating and very intense. Of course, so moon conjunctions they mentioned. I think this was about like you have so much emphasis on one thing that you may just feel like you don't really fit with other people or something. They mentioned Aquarius ascendant, MC, Uranus conjunct the ascendant or in the first house, or Uranus conjunct midheaven on the first house. That's what I assume would also count. Again, and of course, like being seen as weird, are just not fitting in, not fitting with the group that you are in, or just in where you live, or just your job. You stand out like a sore thumb in some way. And this doesn't have to be like being unconventional, but just there is something like maybe your interests are different, or there's something about your look that is different, or just the way your vision of your career is different, in which you stand out. And of course it can kind of feel weird and just maybe not really liked. They mentioned a lot of planets below the horizon, which will make you very introverted. Of course, the planets are below the horizon. Of course, they are just more inward with their energy. And they mentioned again Venus, Saturn, affliction in a social house, or in a Capricorn social house. They mentioned afflictions from the Sun, Moon, and Saturn to the 12th house. They can show fears. Saturn in general can show things that you are afraid of, things that hold you back because of fear. And they have, of course, heavy Neptune. This is also something that is mentioned in PDF from Donna Cunningham's book, the Stellium Handbook. About Neptune being very sensitive to noises, to the environment, to crowds, weather, the backgrounds, just other people, and sounds, smells, neighbors, and just because you are so sensitive to it and just being overwhelmed quickly, you retreat a lot. And of course, by retreating, it makes it very hard to meet people, interact with people, and so you can feel really isolated, and just that leads to sometimes feeling like you're just not good enough, or like people don't like you because you are just so isolated and you retreat a lot. And this is for a very understandable reason, because of being overwhelmed and overstimulated. But yeah, it can be a cause of feeling unpopular and not liked, and things like that. And the last thing that they also mentioned in thread was a T-square without an outlet. My feeling about it is, of course, that there is so much stress on the planet in the middle, the planet that makes the two squares, the apex. And so that means also a lot of stress on you, and just feeling very nervous constantly, and just like having this anxiety and stress, and this may kind of unintentionally turn people off, and so, or may just feel, due to the challenges from these planets that square the apex, you just get this feeling of not being good enough, and you feel that there is something wrong with you, which there is not, but it feels like that. And it can feel extremely real, and people may, for instance, with Pluto, manipulation, or even Neptune, which is also a bit about sort of manipulation in lying, or just not telling the whole truth, or a different kind of truth. And that can give you the idea that it's people that really give you the idea that there's something wrong with you, but there is not. And they also, for instance, also had an example of like the Sun or Mercury in hard aspect to Uranus, for like the same anxiety, overactive mind, brain just constantly goes on and on and on and on and on, and hyperactive, and just nerve system being constantly pressured and constantly pushed by things, and just having all these nerves inside of you, and so that can also just make you like not just constantly feel like anxious about things, about like whether people like you at all. So these were things that were mentioned, and these are my notes. And so again, I want to end with that, like a lot of the time, well, it is definitely possible that you will run into people who genuinely feel that you are not good, and that you're not liked. May in general just not be really well liked or leave good impressions. I think mostly it will just be how you feel, or how other people and other situations that you're in will give you this feeling, the feeling they give you with this. But of course, like, remember that there have been times when you definitely did get some interest, and people did definitely like you, and so just try to focus on that, and just remember, like, when did it happen, where, like, what was I doing back then, and that maybe this is the kind of place where I can be myself, where I can relax, where I can be, where I can feel really liked and receive this love from other people. Especially if the 11th house is involved in any of these examples that I mentioned, because the 11th house is about popularity, about the love that you receive, the opposite of the 5th house, where you give yourself to other people, express yourself. And so yeah, just keep trying, and just don't give up when you really want to. Just if you really want to make contact with people and just be in great relationships, and that, of course, very likely while there is nothing wrong with you, maybe you have some things that are challenging about you, but that does not mean that there's like a defect or a deficit or something like that is lacking about you, or that is wrong about you. Just try, just don't give up. And with that, I want to end my video on the topic of feeling unwelcome and unloved with all of you. Just try to love yourself, love other people. If you know someone who is really supportive, you call them or do something else, just think of them, maybe even helps. And I think just don't give up. So I will see you in my next video. I hope you all like this video, that this helped you some way, that you feel supported, or maybe. Of course, like, if you want to please leave a like or subscribe or comment or share this with other people. And just I will see you in my next video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.